The owner of 6 northern Nevada Sonic locations is under a federal investigation after they were found in violation of child labor laws. I mean, just cavalierly doing the thing and not caring at all. And they're being aided and abetted by GOP governors all across the country. So the federal investigation found the operator illegally allowed 14 and 15-year-olds to work more hours and at times permitted by federal child labor regulations, and assigned them to operate manual deep fryers, a task considered a hazardous occupation. I mean, you gonna let kids handle hot grease? Really? And then what were the adults around that place doing? Did everybody think that was okay to let children handle hot grease? I mean, this is a whole lot. This sounds like child abuse to me. The US Department of Labor's Wage and Hour Division determined SDI of Neil LLC, which operates as Sonic Drive-In, committed more than 170 violations of the child labor provisions of the Fair Labor Standards Act. Now, this reporting is coming from News 4 and Fox 11. The division also recovered $274 in overtime back wages, which is not a lot, and liquidated damages for 2 young workers denied overtime pay for hours over 40 in a work week by the employer. So let me get this straight. Not only are you overworking children, breaking the law, then you got the pure unadulterated gall to hold their overtime wages. The investigators also determined that the employer hired 1 employee who was then 13 years old. The owners of SDI of Neil LLC and the company's owner, Taylor, Ian and Quinn Kane, paid $71,000 and some change in civil penalties. That seems like not enough. Jessica, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so the Sonic franchise average profit margin is 18 to 22%. That's pretty high. It's about $320,000 a year. That's a big profit margin. What do you have to do to become the owner of a Sonic franchise? You have to have good enough credit. You have to be able to afford to take out a loan with the bank to open one up. Then what is your job? Okay, you have to hire a GM. That GM hires managers. Those managers hire staff. The staff are the people who are gonna cook the burgers and actually do the work to bring that revenue and that profit in. So what do you do as an owner? Nothing at all, really. And you're cashing a check for $320,000 a year. Who are your managers hiring? Children? Why? Because those are who will take the jobs, because everyday people now can't afford to live on a minimum wage job. Kids don't have to pay rent. They're usually not the ones paying the groceries. They don't have a mortgage. They don't have to pay health insurance. They don't have the same bills that a person that is an adult has. And so they're being cheap. They could very well afford to hire workers at a living wage. They're choosing not to, and they're hiring children instead. Why? Because they're greedy. It's just unsustainable, unfettered capitalism. And now, what is that child's life? I mean, they probably have parents that are working very hard as well, and they have no choice but to get a job to help provide for their family, keep a roof over their head and food on their own table. That is an absurd way to live, and it's entirely avoidable because does the owner of a Sonic who simply was able to get approved for that bank loan, do they really deserve those $320,000 doing no work? No, like they shouldn't be legal to pay people this low and for you to make this much money off of not contributing to the economy whatsoever. You're not doing any added value labor when you just own a restaurant franchise. It's all the workers that are creating the value. That's who's taking your order at the window. That's who's cooking your burger. And now we're depending on children so that rich people can make more money. It's absolutely absurd.
It is very cruel, and it's telling what kind of society we are. Look, I don't have a problem with wealth. I got a problem with gluttony and greed. I got a problem with people who make their wealth off of the backs and the necks of other people, and now our children too. I mean, this is a sign, this is a symbol of a corrupt society. When we don't take care of our children and our elders, baby, we're lost. We're absolutely lost. And now, unfortunately, first of all, the penalty. Let's talk about what the feds had to say, because the penalty really is really nothing at all. I mean, they were not penalized enough. I mean, that's not enough money to penalize them. But how has it been resolved? Well, here's a statement from the US Department, Department District Director Gene Roman said the following. They've entered into an enhanced compliance agreement, which basically states that going forward, they'll look to maintain compliance, making sure other managers are aware of child labor laws, so that as far as we're concerned, they're looking to make sure that they stay compliant on board. That's BS. I mean, to me, the feds are letting them off lightly. First of all, the fine was nothing. And then you're gonna say that you feel like they're gonna follow directions, follow it. No, they ain't gonna follow nothing. They not following it, because if they feared it, they wouldn't have broke it in the first place. And as I was mentioning, these daggone governors across this country are absolutely involved in child exploitation. America, are we gonna go down this path? Are we gonna continue to be complicit in our own demise? And now they pulling our babies into it too. And let me tell you something, when you have parents and they can't make a living wage, that impacts the children. And now the children gotta work too. America, we got a problem.